Hi guys, this is Pearly. Welcome back to my channel. I first want to say thank you so much for giving me so many heartwarming, thoughtful, insightful, and great feedbacks and advices in my previous video. It helped me so much, and now I have a better idea on how I want to shoot travel vlogs. I'm motivated again thanks to you guys. And I'm bringing you to a cafe today. I once received a comment and it says, I can understand everything, but when I talk, I freeze and my mind goes blank. It's kind of frustrating. I sort of touch upon this problem here and there in my previous videos, but in this video, I'm specifically going to share with you how to start talking with others in a foreign language, even though you are very much scared and anxious and nervous. The thing is, in your language learning journey, I'm pretty sure that you have already heard people telling you it's totally fine to make mistakes, people wouldn't care, or just simply don't care what others are going to think about your mistakes. I think, yes, in theory, we all know it's all about not caring, but in reality, it's just so difficult to apply it. So I was like, why not just embrace the fact that yes, we are going to care about what others think about our mistakes. And yes, we are going to be anxious when we talk to others. And what can we do about it? How can we slowly expand our comfort zone and start talking with others even though we are still very much scared and anxious and nervous? So in this video, I'll first share with you what preparation you can do before you talk to others. And then what you can do if your mind goes blank when you talk to others. And lastly, I'll share with you something that could potentially help you psychologically to ease your anxious mind. To ease our anxiety when speaking a foreign language, it would be nice to slowly build up our confidence in pronunciation, tones, rhythm, and flow when speaking, and to also get used to our own voice when speaking a foreign language. So, what do? We read our favorite work out loud. So it can be anything. As long as you like it and there's an audio version of it, it's more than enough. Let me demonstrate it to you. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and look down one as far as I could. Just like that.
And in French. C'est un peu bizarre que vous ayez cliqué sur cette vidéo, non? Vous pensez vraiment qu'on peut apprendre à parler une langue naturellement? Par exemple, si je vous donne des conseils qu'on vous donne habituellement, comme ne pas prononcer le ne de la négation ou alors dire te à la place de tuer, like that.
So I think it's important to slowly expand our comfort zone instead of boom, go talk to a random native speaker directly. If you are nervous, it would be nice to first start speaking with others in a controlled setting, like with teachers, because they know you are a learner, so they are more open-minded to any mistakes you make. And I know many of you are learning English, so I'm happy to share with you Cambly, which is the sponsor of this video. I've already worked with Cambly before, and I really like how good and convenient the platform is, so it's my pleasure to work with them again. So Cambly is an online platform that offers both live one-on-one English lessons.
By the way, I really like your British accent. I always hope that I have a British accent, but...
And group lessons for English learners.
There will always be a group of people who are interested in you, like your experiences.
Yeah. Before you even subscribe to Cambly, there's a free online speaking test for you to assess your level. And if you are nervous and would prefer talking about familiar topics, you could always search for a teacher who shares your interest using keywords. features, which is a function that I really like. And after classes, there's a transcript of the lesson for you to review the words, vocabulary, and sentences you learned during the class. And lastly, I really like how straightforward Cambly made its subscription. So once you subscribe to it, you can access to all its features such as CamAI or lesson transcript. There are no complicated add-ons, just simple and straightforward. So please check out my link in the description box below to access the free English speaking test and also special summer discount. So besides reading your favorite work out loud and also practice speaking with teachers, another thing you can do is talk to yourself. I know I've already talked about this hundreds of times, but this time focus on having dialogue with yourself, like playing two roles at the same time. For example, I'm Pearly, but at the same time, I'm also playing the role of my friend Emma. Let me show you. Assalamualaikum, ازيك؟ وعليكم السلام الحمد لله انتي ايما ليه؟ انا كويسة الحمد لله انا اسمي ايما وانتي؟ انا اسمي بيرلي تشرفنا وانا كمان انتي منين؟ انا من تايوان وانتي؟ انا من مصري جميلة جدا like that. So just like that, I think it's nice to focus on having dialogue with yourself because the more you do it, the more it will become a second nature for you to have a conversation with someone in your target language. And even when you are under anxiety, when you're actually talking with a real person, some sentences that you practice often might just pop up in your head. So your mind just wouldn't go blank anymore. So the last thing I would suggest during our preparation phase is to prepare and memorize an opening talk. Basically a self-introduction about your name, where do you live right now, do you like it, why or why not, and what do you do for work or study, and do you like it, why or why not, and how long have you been learning this language, and etc. and etc. Basically things that you would normally talk to others when you first meet someone. Let me give you an example. Hola, mi nombre es Pearly. Soy de Taiwán y actualmente vivo en Taipei. Me gusta vivir en Taipei porque Taipei es súper conveniente y la comida es excelente. Ahora soy YouTuber a tiempo completo. Creo que es un trabajo desafiante, pero estoy disfrutando mucho. He estado aprendiendo español de vez en cuando durante 10 meses y aún soy muy mala en eso. Me gusta mucho español porque creo que es un idioma lleno de energía. Granted, you might not be able to apply this opening talk in every situation, but I think it can already be very useful in quite many situations. So let's now talk about during our talk. How can we still let our mouth open and talk to others even though we are very nervous and anxious? First of all, do you still remember what we just did? We just memorized an opening talk, right? When your mind goes blank, just try to say some sentences you memorized already. And second, try to recall what are some of the phrases you use often in your native tongue and translate those sentences into your target language and memorize those. Because if you use it often in your native tongue, there's a high chance that you would also want to use it when you are speaking a foreign language. So for me, for example, in my native tongue, I often say, yeah, that's so true, that's so cool, really? Wow, that's crazy, that's amazing, I don't know, I'm not so sure, things like that. And thirdly, try to memorize some useful transition and filler words. For example, so, but, then, in general, like, etc., etc. Because those words are gonna be useful when you want to have some time to think of the next sentences you say. So just by memorizing sentences or words like this, I think it's going to help a lot, because when you're nervous and anxious, you just don't have the mental capacity to think of phrases or words to say. Lastly, try to communicate the point, not the sentence. For example, instead of saying saying español es muy difícil, you could just say español difícil, like that. And also another tip is, if you cannot find a word that you want to say, which I believe it happens so often, just try to find another way to say it. And you can also use your like hand gestures or body languages to do it. So for example, I remember I met a Spanish girl a while ago, and I wanted to tell her that Spanish and French are similar, but I have no idea how to say the word similar in Spanish. So instead, I just told her español y francés. And then I stopped. I was like trying to use my hand gesture to express what I want to say. And I was actually waiting for her to say the words. And I'm glad that she did. So, there's always a way to get by when you just don't know how to say the word or a sentence or how to express yourself in a certain situation. So don't worry too much about it.
It's way too hot, so I ordered a drink.
Lastly, let me share with you some perspectives and thoughts that could potentially help you to ease your anxious mind. First of all, do you know foreign language anxiety is a thing? I didn't know it's a thing until I did my research for this video. There are actually quite many studies online, so feeling anxious when we are practicing a foreign language is actually much more common than I expected. Secondly, try to imagine someone who is trying to learn your native tongue. Would you care about the mistakes they make? For me, I don't care. And even if I noted some funny and kind of cute mistakes, oh my god, I'm so bad. In the end of the day, I still very much admire and respect them for taking on a challenge to learn Mandarin. Thirdly, you can try to give it a thought. Are you afraid of others judging your mistakes? Or you are in fact the one that judge your own mistakes? For example, you think you are gonna look so ridiculous when making mistakes, or you are a perfectionist and you do not allow yourself to make mistakes. I think it's worth giving it a thought. And I also want to mention something. Sometimes some people can just be really intimidating, being very cold and bland, and make us being self-aware again. I remember one time I was practicing a foreign language, and the person whom I'm talking to, her expression was just like, like this, And I remember I was so nervous. I was like, oh my god, I can't not do this anymore. But I think it's important to remind ourselves constantly that most of the people are not like that. Most of the people are nice and patient and friendly. Lastly, try to build up confidence in yourself, because self-confidence is also about knowing yourself and having a strong sense of identity. You could check out my video about self-confidence if you're interested. So even if no one applauds your great effort in practicing speaking a foreign language, or you run into someone with no patience, you know what you deserve. You know your difficulties, how hard you tried, where you're coming from, etc. So you can always pat yourself on the back and say you did a great job by speaking a foreign language with someone today. And it's really all that matters.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and find it helpful. And probably will see you again in the next video.